Hi, RCN families. It's Miss Sarah here, and the next activity that I'm going to go over is growing grass seeds on a sponge. And this is a super fun science activity to do at home, and it goes with the planting of the bean seed that you already did in your last learning bag. So before you even start this experiment, you can pull apart your knowledge and pull background knowledge of what your children gained from planting seeds at home from the first bag and ask them different questions. Say, look at the plant and say, what does it look like? And talk about the parts of the plant. And, say, do you see the root? Do you see the sprout or the stem, the leaves, the bud, the flowers? Or talk about what you may see if it was a different plant or how it's going to keep growing. Or talk about even the steps you took. First you had to decorate, your little pot. And then you had to put the dirt in and make a little hole and put the bean seed in and cover it up and ask the children, what a plant needs to grow. It needs water. It first needs its soil and then water and sunlight. And you need to keep taking care of it. So just so you see what your child remembers and kind of get that background knowledge all fresh in their memory, then you can move on to growing the grass seed on the sponge. So they say to ask different questions. How can we use these materials to grow the seeds without soil? So that might be interesting for the children to think about, because if I had done this experiment before, I'd be really confused about, how we're planting grass seeds on a sponge without soil. So it's interesting to hear their answers and see what they would say about it. So you get your sponge, and I would either put the sponge under the sink and make it damp, or get a spray bottle and spray it and soak the sponge. So you want it wet enough where the seeds are going to stick. So you're going to take your grass seeds and take them out of the bag and have your child either with their fingers or with a spoon take out the seeds and sprinkle it on top all over your sponge. And you're going to maybe put the sponge on a paper plate or a tray so you can move it around and not have to touch the sponge too much, because once it's kind of sitting there and the seeds are there, you really don't want your kid going like wobbling around and the seeds are going to fall off. So I would put it on a plate first and then have your child, sprinkle the seeds over top and pour a little water, more water onto it to keep the sponge, and the seeds moist, and ask different questions. What would happen if, if they pour the seeds on top of the sponge, or what would happen, if we did it a different way or put it in different places of the house? Do you think it needs sunlight still like our bean plant, or do you think we can grow it in, a closet? And, it might be silly, but it just kind of keeps them thinking about how plants grow, what they need to grow. And then, have your child look at it every day and kind of do your best judgment if it needs more water, if it's dry. And, they just get to observe the plant and watch the seeds sprout right on the sponge. And that is so neat and a great experience. And there's different questions you can ask at the bottom as you're doing the experience, as the seeds are growing. And I believe the extra dirt in the bag is for seeds that are left over. If you don't use all the grass seed on your sponge, save it for the dirt. So if you have a plastic cup or a little pot at your house, put the dirt in it and have your child plant some more grass seed in it. And then they can do a grass head, having hair growing out of it. And, if there's a face on the cup, they can give it a haircut when it grows. So use this extra dirt as kind of another planting experience with your child. Take lots of pictures and send them to your child's teacher, because I'm sure they would enjoy seeing pictures of your child doing the steps and seeing the child super excited when the sprouts actually start coming up. So send those pictures to their teachers, and I hope you have fun with this science experiment. Bye, friends.